as I usually say that where our parents failed with us, we need to do better when it comes to our kids. Clearly, some people don't understand what I mean, so let me elaborate. The other day, I posted that I bought a chocolate for my son because I took out my frustrations on him. Well, he misbehaved, you know. I had to reprimand him, but the manner in which I reprimanded him, I was not in a good space that evening. So I kind of like went overboard with the tone, with words and whatnot. So I reprimanded him as if he had done something bigger than what he had done, and I wasn't happy because he cried afterwards. Okay, so I posted a video and I said I bought a chocolate to apologize. There was two comments that were unnecessary. I deleted them because clearly people did not understand why there's a need as a parent to apologize. Then somebody sent me a message, went further on to send me a message privately and says, why must we as adults apologize to our children when we are reprimanding them? There's words that I I lived with for years that were said by my mom that have literally broken me. And it made me view myself in a certain way. It made me value myself less. Like for instance, if a parent would say to you, you are a dog, just for example, and then people outside start treating you like you are nothing, you get to a point where you have that mindset to say, okay, but even my own family said, or even my own mother said, I'm a dog, so it's normal for these people to treat me like this. I'm not surprised that people are treating me like this. So it was that kind of a scenario whereby there's certain words that were said that stuck with me for years that I battled to forgive until God dealt with me, you know. And there would be times where there would be things that my mom would do or say, and she would literally, you could see she sees that she's wrong maybe after a day or so, and instead of apologizing she would try and do things, but because the apology never came, it stuck with me and it harmed me. Her words harmed me a lot. So as a result, because of I saw the extent of what her words and her actions did to me, I vowed that wherever she did not do right by me, I will do right by my kids. Wherever she failed, I will make sure that I don't fail or do or repeat the same mistakes when it comes to my kids. I am very I'm very cautious, even when especially when I'm angry. I'm very cautious, and it took me a while to learn this because I think by the time I had my son, 2015, I was already in the yeah, I was already in depression, and I was in the center of everything that that led to depression. I was in the center of it. Everything was still happening at that time. And then in the first year of him being on earth, he was constantly in and out of hospital to an extent that we nearly lost him. So that alone made depression worse. And I was not in a good space. For the first couple of years, I was not in a good space. And at times he would cry and I would get frustrated and I would say words to him until God dealt with me. So I had to allow the Holy Spirit to assist me in that because I literally at some point in life, I think he was around 6, if not 7, when I had to say, Father, how do I become a better mother than the mother that I had? And when you look at how I'm mothering my kids, I'm mothering my kids like I had a good role model. I'm proud to say that. I am mothering my kids like I had a good role model. I'm mothering my kids like I had I had experienced what I'm doing to them or what I'm giving to them, the love that I'm giving to them. And in all honesty, I didn't. As a child at their age, especially at my son's age, I didn't really get that much love. And everything and everyone else mattered more than me when it comes to my own mother. And I'm speaking openly about this because God has been working on our relationship and restoring it, so we are in a better space. But I'm basically saying to you, Wuti, you cannot give your kids the same version of a mother than you got, if or your same version of a father than you got, because this is not just about motherhood, it's also about fatherhood. If your father walked out on you, you cannot be walking out on your kids and making them experience the same pains that you experienced. If your parents were drunkards and they never took care of you, or they never cared whether you ate or whether you had school accessories and whatnot, you cannot be taking your children through the same thing, you know. If your parents would usually reprimand you in a way that they would speak words to you that would break you, you cannot allow yourself to go through the same thing, as especially in this generation where we've got so much help available for us to become better versions of parents than what we had, you know. It's the same as when you grew up in a household where your mom had 15 kids, or your mom had 7 kids, and you felt that there was not enough love. I honestly feel that if you feel a horror, you cannot give the same love. Don't have too many kids, you know. We need to get to a point where we put our kids first, not just when it comes to certain things, but when it comes to all things. You know, you need to put your kids first mentally, emotionally, and financially. So we cannot allow our kids to go through the same childhood that we grew up in. We cannot allow our kids to go through the same traumas that we went through with our parents. Hence, I'm saying where our parents failed with us, we need to do better. You know how your parents were treating you, you know how unfair they were when it comes to the siblings that you had, and not being able to balance all of you guys. So you cannot allow yourself to love one child more than the other child. You know how, whenever you would ask your parents for something, they would constantly shout at you. And we have to also accept that they had their own traumas that they did not deal with. They have their own unhealed pains and wounds, but we cannot pin that on our children as well. I cannot say my mom went through trauma and she did not heal from it, so she passed it on to me. I went through my own trauma. Now my son has to feel the same. No, it has to end with me. The suffering has to end with me. The trauma has to end with me. The verbal abuse that I got, it has to end with me. It cannot be passed on to my children, you know. So we need to do better as parents. We need to do better. If it means that I need to only have one child because having two children was having two siblings was traumatic for me, and I feel that I'm not in the right space to love more than one child, have one child, you know. Like, can we do better when it comes to our children? You know, some of us have gone through life with so much trauma of the past from our childhood, and I honestly, as much as I wanted to respond to those two comments before deleting them, I had to remind myself that there's people that don't even know that they are battling with trauma. There's people that have so much pain that they're going through that they have not dealt with, and certain things, when they see them, they don't know how to respond to them, because that's what they've known, you know. We've always known that parents are right, parents must have their way, but we need to change the narrative. I'm not saying we need to allow our kids to disrespect us. I'm not saying we need to allow our kids to not be reprimanded and all of that. I'm basically saying, let us do better than our parents did. Let us not have another generation that will go through depression. Let us not have another generation that will commit suicide. Let us not have another generation that will battle with parental trauma, that will battle with childhood trauma. Let it end with us. Let the next generation learn from us. Or we'll say we apologize when we are wrong. Let that generation learn from us that, we fix things. And this is just about parenting. This is not about relationships or anything. This is just about parenting. Just to say, can you do better than what your parents did? Where your parents broke you, don't break your children. Where your parents hurt you, don't hurt your children. The negative words that your parents spoke, if your parents used to have anger issues and they would just lash out on you, do not let your children go through the same. Where our parents failed with us, let us do better with our kids.